Alright, we're going to continue with our value scales and shading techniques. We're going to move down here into the box called cross-hatching. Now, it's a lot of repetition, repetitive things. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. So the same thing like we did to start out in hatching and in pencil shading, we're going to split our box into 5 squares. And you guessed it, same thing. We're going to go ahead and do this now. We're going to get rid of the line between box 1 and 2 really quick. And I'm going to go ahead and number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, remembering that 5 is our absolute darkest and 1 is our absolute lightest, just like we've done before, we're going to start at box 3 for 50% coverage. Now, you'll notice that there's a similar word here that we've already learned about, which is hatching, which is in this box up here, and it is lines going in one direction. So, if you look at your word here, cross-hatching, that means that you have lines that are crossing over each other, a crisscross, an X pattern. It ends up looking very much like a waffle type pattern. Okay, so you have lines that will go in one direction and then they'll go in the opposite direction, crisscrossing over top of each other. Now, just like before, we're always going to start in box 3 and we're going to do 50% coverage because it is halfway between 0 and 100. Okay, so I'm going to make my first set of diagonal lines, and again, diagonal is the easiest because your hand has a natural slant to it. And then I'm going to crisscross over top of that, like so, until I feel like I've covered the box 50% of the way with crisscrossing lines, like that. Now again, just like we've done before, because 4 and 5 get darker, we can do the same thing in box number 4 and box number 5 to give us that 50% coverage that we did in box 3, just like that. Okay, and like I said before, hatching and cross-hatching are pretty quick. So, the next step, you guessed, is in box 2, we're going to be halfway between 50 and 0, which is 25. So, same thing, just like in hatching, I'm going to increase the space between my lines because that is going to make a lighter value for me, just like you see there. Okay, and just like in hatching, I'm going to bring a couple of them over into box 1, but not much, just like that. Because remember, box 1 should be basically empty. Okay, so now, just like we did before, we're going to focus on box 5 first, and box 5 is 100% coverage. So, just like in hatching, I'm going to make my lines as close together as I can get them. And remember, you don't want to color this in because you want to have this texture at the end that these will give you. You want to see the lines. Okay, so I'm going to go in one direction, and then I'm going to go crisscrossed over top in the opposite direction until I feel like my box is 100% full. Okay. So you want as little white space in between the lines as you can get, just like that. Okay, now I have my 100 and I have my 50, so now I need my 75% in box number 4. Same thing, I'm going to add lines going in one direction, and then I'm going to go across them in the opposite direction until I feel like this box is about 75% full of lines. Just like that. Okay, now, what you'll see, again, is that it has lines in between each set of value. And that's okay for right now. We don't have to worry about that, but just like I showed you in hatching, you can blend them together just at that point where they meet by adding a little bit of lines there or right here so that it's a little more of a smooth transition, but it's really not, it's not totally necessary right now. Okay, so that's cross hatching. Like I said, these go really quick. So the last one in the next video will be stippling.